Then the pilot of that space station crashes in onto Tatooine. And he brings the and.
He's away from the
And
screen, so I will step in place of that.
Wait, what?
Sergey, it's your
Oh,
turn.
sorry, it's Sergey's turn. I'm sorry.
Sergey, it's your turn.
I know I'm thinking. Give me a second. And then a little kitty starts jumping on the bed.
Okay, you have to do that. You have to go. Meanwhile, back at the station, so we know it's a different
Well,
story.
meanwhile, back at the station, there's a little kitty bed and the cat, 5 feet tall, walks around, patting, purring along the way. And
Meanwhile, back of the story. Uh, the laser tag arena has, hey guys, I want to play, and he rushes in with his own laser rifle and starts shooting everybody, and he's getting way too into it, and he's not really paying attention because he accidentally grabbed an actual laser rifle and not the toy ones that they're using, and he doesn't realize that he's fried 3 of the crew already, and he's just giggling happily as he looks for everyone else to shoot. The rest of the crew are terrified and crying in the corner as Kenneth, the murderer, laughs with glee as he shoots everybody. And
And suddenly, the Galactic Police arrive and arrest the murderer and save the people. And
The game master rubs his eyes. Eh, eh, eh. The sound that he thought was the klaxon earlier is simply his cell phone going off. Eh, eh, eh. He looks up at the clock and sighs. Crap! 10 minutes late again. What the H am I going to do for a story today? He stumbles across the small space to his desk, turns on the computer, and plunks down. Already in the room are 5 eager faces wanting to play a routine role-play game that they play every week. They've been working so hard to mentally prepare to play their roles. They've even, in certain cases, gone and put on costumes that clearly identify themselves as their characters, but the game master is only blinking, trying to rub the sleep from his eyes. Eh, eh. Oh, he forgot to shut off the alarm. He reaches over, shuts off the alarm, looks down. Holy crap. And then the cacophony begins. Happy. And?
back at Tatooine, um, a horde of Jawas finds
Wait a
laser
moment.
rifles on the.
No,
Way
it's
out
not
of
your
turn.
turn.
Way out of turn. Raven hasn't even
Sorry.
moved yet.
Remember,
she's
you're
grinning
after
like a
me.
Cheshire cat. She was
Sorry,
really
I
thinking
missed
hard, and you guys went and rambled right
I
over
think this
her
is
turn.
the game.
It's okay.
Yeah, no big deal.
I do improv, so I mean, I'm used to you just say
Go.
and such. So, but anyway, you said happy, so happy birthday. We know that it's your day. We hope that's really exciting. That's all I have to say. Next.
And?
I'd say more. I'd say more. Super happy it's your birthday. But I'm sorry, I don't have much in the way of a present because I can't telephone it to you.
Okay, I'll be honest with you guys, just as a quick out of order thing here. I happen to be a person that believes that today, just my existence is my gift from the universe, and the way I know this is that it's always a present.
Well, that's cute. I like that.
and meanwhile,
And
And I threw things
Hey,
off. It was Felicity was finishing up. So
now it's your turn, Beatrix.
Very awesome.
No,
Back
no,
at Tatooine, a group of Jawas raid the ship full of people who were accidentally killed after the Galactic Police leave and all. And yeah, go on. Yeah. And
Sergey.
Happy Joy. Oh, wait, sorry. Happy Joy. Happy Joy. There we go. Oh, sorry. Captain. I was doing some homework a moment ago. Sorry to interrupt. Can you? There was a shooting at a
Oh,
laser tag, and I literally that song was stuck in my head. I had to sing it. Right.
There was an and at the end of that.
Meanwhile,
Yeah, there you go.
back in the Dungeon Master's home, he brushes aside the birthday wishes and rubs some more sleep from his eyes. And he has an idea of this roleplay game that everyone can play. But then he thinks better of it, and he starts to tell the story of the spacefarers out in the galaxy. And he turns to his crew and says, "Okay, everyone, we're going to be playing. Did everyone remember what happens last week? Because I certainly don't. Mob, can you fill in what happened last week?" And
Mob is confused because there's strangely ethereal voices talking to him out of the beyond. And he's not sure what to do, so he looks around confused. He looks for his tactical officer. But she's not there. And
Oh no! Great Scott! I've got it! A fog, ethereal and almost tangible, drifts across the console in front of Raven Connors. It's a copper color and brushes across her forehead so distinctly that she almost feels the touch of it across her forehead. It blows by again, and after a third time it dawns on her it's the pesky fan in the corner keeps blowing her hair over her face, so she sweeps it back. Looking back at her console, she realizes she is sitting at the communications console on board the vessel, and it's the Serendipity 2. How did she get here? What is this strange sensation? Where are the klaxons? And why does that clown have a laser gun as he goes running by? Oh, something's really, really wrong on board the Serendipity 2. And
Tarkin, they're touching your tools. Next.
wait a minute.
Wait a moment. My turn.
That's right.
She picks up all the tools, examines them carefully, and then chooses the one she wants. And then she walks out and goes, "I'll find a few places to hide these. I'll find lots of few places to hide these." And she sets off hiding all of his tools.
I can think of at least one tool she won't be able to find.
oh,
I didn't want to.
And my character picks up one of Tarkin's chainsaws and hides it underneath his shirt.
That won't be noticeable
And
at all.
runs into the clown and slices his laser gun in half with the chainsaw, then hides it again. And
Meanwhile, on the space station.
oh.
There's a creature coming out of the mist, Captain. It has tentacles, has eyes, has a pair of glasses. And
Meanwhile, back in 1920s Earth, a man desperately attempts to put together an artifact that has multiple colored prisms all around it. There's cracks of lightning, and there's this strange, mean lady holding a gun at him. And he's just trying to get his damn old god to show up. It's not like it's a big deal. He pulls out the sacrificial dagger, and begins to cut the head off the chicken that's on top of the pedestal, just mumbling himself in a happy, tuneless tune like a happy birthday song or something. And as the blood coats the crystals, something begins to happen. It starts to glow, and
And the mists rise up, and the storms clash as Nikos is born. And
The 11-year-old scratches his head, puts down the book, quickly staring at it. Good Lord! What is in this thing? I only picked it up because the game master left it on the table. What the hell? Oh my! I can't use that kind of words. Mom's gonna get mad. That that's inside this book. He picks it back up, flips to the section on random character generation, and
I mean, yeah, maybe didn't say every single little word, but I said the words basically, mostly, and
Pick up the dice and roll them. Ooh, look at that. On 4d6, I got 17. Well, if you drop the lowest. And then I roll again. Keep on rolling until I have 8 stats. Throw away the 2 lowest and go. Ooh, that's fun. Let's go. And
then somebody forgot to turn the stove off, and the house burns down with the computer sheet in your hand. And
I don't understand. What did he say?
he said the house lit on fire and your character got burned. Character sheet got burned.
Oh. That's why we have, and that's why you thank the computer gods that you saved it on the internet.
Absolutely, because I take my computer everywhere I go.
Oh, wait a minute. This server crashed. Oh, no. And
I don't have a server. I have a handheld computer.
you remember that that's okay because you have a genius friend named Travis that you can call that can hack into the servers and fix everything computer related for you. So you call him up and he's really annoyed and he wakes up and goes, what do you want? And so you get on TeamViewer and you give him your code. So he fixes your computer with lightning speed and doesn't make a single mistake. And he doesn't have to explain random stuff that you don't understand to you because he just does it all for you. And you're very grateful and you buy him a birthday cake. And
and Mob fucking Robson says hello to Mrs. Anthony Ann Murphy. And then Mob thinks about his life for just a little bit and thinks about the birthday cake that's available. And says, shit, I forgot a present. And
I have no idea what's going on, and
Okay, good. Thank you for the call up. So, this actually worked out really well. So, because it happens to be my turn next anyway, I'll be able to explain this to you. We are playing a game called Meanwhile Back at the Station. When Mob gets done, before I speak next time, you'll be speaking. So you're going to follow Mob and speak before me. We're all adding to a completely non sequitur, collective consciousness kind of role play game. There are 3 or 4 actual threads going on by now, so you just kind of have to listen to catch a lot. There's a lot of callbacks because that makes it funny. So people are calling back from other people's story bits to continue the story. If you gets to your point and you don't want to follow the line that's already been set for you, or you've got a completely different idea you think is even cooler, you just start off by saying, meanwhile, back at the station, or meanwhile, back at the wherever, and then create a whole new scene. We're just going to do this for a while until enough people tell me in the chat that they don't want to play this anymore, and I haven't even looked at the chat, so we already have 14 votes. No, we're good. Haven't even had one yet, so we're doing okay. Good. So it happens to be my turn, and I'm going to start with what Mob just said. Meanwhile, back in Mission Viejo, California, Jonathan sits and looks at the large red tome. How did he get a footpad out of that? That book is too old. He scratches his head, gets out a notebook. It says, footpad. I wonder what he meant by that. I don't even know what that term means. But I'm a clever little boy at 11 years old. I will decide that a footpad is one of those things. And he points at the wall to himself. And there on the wall is a sticky pad in the shape of a bear footprint. In his time, at that point in chronology, that emblem was cut out of fake fur and stuck to everything. So you would walk down the street and see a footprint on the side of a gas station pump or on the back fender of a Volkswagen van. So naturally, I think that must be what a footpad is. But in the game last night, the game master said that the footpads attacked us by night and that they had tracked us from town. Aha! These furry footprints follow you by tracking you. Literally, in your tracks of your feet, they find you. Aha! I'm onto a story plot, and the first of Jonathan's ever roleplay games began. And...
Was it quick? I'm sorry, that wasn't me.
That's your turn.
Yes, that's it's alright.
No, it's Raven's turn.
I know. I'm saying it's.
Shut up, both of you.
And with that, Raven sits at her console and says, "Oh, huh. I think it's God's birthday today, isn't it? I should sing him a Scottish birthday song that I learned from watching really old videos of Renaissance fairs, which are even older." Scottish birthday song, anybody? Happy birthday, ha! Happy birthday, ha! May the cities in your wake burn like candles on your cake, but happy birthday, ha! Next.
May the women wail and weep, kill 'em all but save the sheep. Happy birthday. It's called the Mongolian birthday song, by the way. Happy birthday.
Scottish cultural appropriation, what can you say?
Now that you're the age you are, your demise cannot be far. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. And
back in Mission Vieiro, or how you pronounce the city, the police find the footprints all over the street and all, and see the 11-year-old pinning him down and all, and pulls out his taser and says, "Put your hands up on your head and turn around slowly. You are under arrest for vandalism." And
Meanwhile, it's John Snows.
Sorry. Go ahead.
8-year-old child. Look at his magic book. Filled with wonder, terror, and glee, as he realized he has the power to create and destroy and to build a world full of pure imagination. And
He closes the book, looks around the room, and says, "Nah, I'm gonna go play some video games." And so he goes and gets on his computer, starts playing video games, and looks around in the virtual world and says, "Yeah, this is where I want to live. Who needs other people?" And
And the game master shakes his head and wonders exactly where we went wrong. And game master.
Miss Murphy?
Oh,
Oh, yeah. I'm. And the taser disappears and reappears in the virtual world for no apparent reason. And
The 11-year-old looks up. Dudes, you don't know how long I've been doing this. That taser can't possibly exist. It hasn't been invented and won't be for 25 years. Dude, if you're a time cop, you suck at it. Furthermore, I'm 11. and there aren't any computers yet. I haven't even learned to program yet. I won't the computer isn't even possible for me for 4 more years. Oh, I know about ENIAC because they used it to send people to the moon, but there are no computer worlds for me to hide in. You want me to play with my console? I got a Pong at home. A Pong, okay? It plugs into my TV. I don't even know how it works. So I can't go and hide in the Pong world. There isn't any place to go. If I put this book down, my only other option is to put on roller skates. Do you know what the bullies in the block where I live will do to me if I put my roller skates on in the daytime on the street? No, I roller skate at night because that's where I can meet the girls. But this is 11 years old. I don't even meet girls yet. What am I talking about? I'm rambling. Meanwhile, back at the station, Raven looks down and sees that the puppies are no longer in their containment field.
Oh no!
Good for you.
There's she recognizes an odd metallic scent in the air and realizes that perhaps the atmosphere of the Serendipity 2 has been compromised. She tries to clear her head from the fog, but the red mist still falls across her eyes, and she still has to brush it from her face from the fan on the console. What? The only thing she can do is think to try to get a hold of Tarkin, but they took away her tools. Perhaps he might still have his radio in his room, but they took his tools, so he's not sure. She's not sure whether she can reach him. She reaches for the console and says, "Tarkin, come in, Tarkin." And
Felicity picks up the phone. Yes, what is it?
not your turn. Not your turn. Not your turn.
Okay.
You're telling me it's not my turn? All right.
Sorry. You're right. It's just I was leading into it because I had it. Never mind. Go on. I'm sorry.
Tarkin, come in. Can you hear me? And then she lets go of the button. That's the word. And speaks to nobody in particular. Why do I even bother? Next.
She's the only one that says next. Everyone else is saying but Raven says next every damn time. It's so cute.
I'm sorry, that's what I'm used to.
No, it's just very funny.
And for me is something else.
Gotcha.
Okay. Felicity is fussing around in her medical center, and all of a sudden she hears Raven walking by. Why do we even bother? And Raven, are you sure about that? Oh, and then she walked away. I guess she's not really paying attention. Who else is around? She calls on her comm.
Gotta say the word, Gene.
And
back in Mission Viejo, the cop is still staying there, pulls out his sidearm and says, "You're still under arrest for vandalism, but if you let me join your role-playing game, I will let you go." And
you will never take me alive, copper. He picks up the book, throws it at the taser that doesn't exist in this world yet, and he runs for it. And the cop goes after him, the supposed cop, with the plastic badge. Get back here! I want to play games too!
The Dungeon Master reaches into his bag of endless dice and pulls out a handful of D4s and D20s and throws them on the sidewalk behind him. The cop runs into it and pierces his foot on D4s, and his other foot flies up into the air because of the D20s, and he falls up comedically onto his rear end, and the DM gets away, the dice again, his best friend to get stuff done when he doesn't want to do it himself. And he goes home having faced his fears and had his giggles, and now it's time for him to sit down and actually prepare what's going to happen in the next DM session, because he realizes that preparation is better than having to rely on dice. And
I pull out a comm from my hand bag, and then I say, "Why do I even have this? Where did this come from?" And then she answers, "Who is this?" And
And she's confused and disoriented because of the pain in the foot from the D4s. And the 11-year-old shrieks at the top of his lungs from the pain. And that's
Did
you,
that's
John.
that's
No,
yeah.
no, I know. You guys always do this. That's funny. It comes around to you, and you've got all these ideas of what you want to talk about, and then they go left turn. It's like okay. Meanwhile, back aboard the ship, Tarkin wakes up from the alarms set in his chambers. They are not the alarms for his normally hour of waking. As a matter of fact, he doesn't. Not sure why he would have nodded off in the afternoon. But as he lifts his arms lifts his head off of his own arms, the sticky pad note still sticking to his forehead that he put there moments ago. He looks around, and above, when he looks into the mirror and he sees the note, it says, "One Ayor, one Ayor." Oh, it's backwards. Peels it off. Run away. He looks over at the shared space where they've kept the puppy dogs for the last few weeks. The puppy dogs are missing. They are not in their chambers. And the alarm that was going off was not even about the proximity of the creatures, but instead his tool alarms that have been protecting his tools forever have been sounding. Someone has touched Tarkin's tools. And
It definitely was not Raven who touched Tarkin's tools. I promise you. But I want to know where my puppies are. I mean, what? Huh? Where are they? Somebody has to find them, and it can't be me because I'm busy. Next.
Game?
Oh, sorry, I was out of communication for a while. What was the last bit?
just that's what Felicity says. Felicity says I was out of contact for just a bit. What was the last thing said?
Okay, and I'll get out of this as gracefully as
Exactly.
possible. My headphones went off.
Now it's your turn.
Bellatrix.
And Bellatrix.
She froze. Bellatrix is down. Bellatrix is down.
Okay.
Warning. Bellatrix is down. Go ahead,
Sergey?
Sergey. Oh, I'm sorry. Travis next.
Oh, you said the last thing. The last thing was the last thing. Finding the puppies. Well, you don't have to worry about. I send them to the salon to get groomed. They're kind of spiky right now. Hopefully we can get them more fluffy. Yeah. Theory says. As he
Tarkin.
holds a wrench in his hand.
Tarkin wakes up and finds it hilarious that these plebeians think that they can switch to a game and play a game with his tools when he's not aware of it. The fools. And he presses a button on his desk, and all of the tools began to beep loudly. And then the magnetics activate in their systems, and no matter where they are on the ship, they began to zoom rather quickly back to their places in his tool shed because they're programmed that way. No matter how hard they hold on to him, they'll be dragged across the ship and back into the tool room, and he's waiting there, tapping his foot, waiting for the culprits to show up, dragged by the tools that they are holding. And
Mob finds himself being drugged backwards as his pocket full of tools that he has procreated or commandeered, pardon me, start pulling him backwards towards Tarkin's tool area. And
Anne was skipped.
Nope. This is when you're
Oh,
right now.
it's
It's when
your
you happen,
turn.
Ann. You're right after Mob and before me.
No.
The pictures
I
change
wanna-
order all the time, so you have to.
Oh, okay. And I say ow because my foot got D4 damage apparently. Ow. And
Somewhere aboard Serendipity 2, the 8 eyes of the small creatures meet. There is a aura or a glow around them as they come into contact with one another for the ritual of becoming. Their bodies undulate and swell, the shiny metallic natures combining into a single entity and expanding in mass by 4 times their previous mass before they disconnect and disconjoin into the 2 primaries and a litter of 16 tiny bits. And
We got puppies. Sorry, never mind.
So we now have 16 puppies.
18.
It seems 18.
Well, we have-
I can count 18 puppies. So that's grand. We're gonna need a bigger containment unit. I'm sure that'll thrill Tarkin, although somebody touched his tools, which won't thrill Tarkin. But that's okay. I need to do some more research. Next.
Felicity is aware of tools flying out of where she had hit him in the medical bay.
crash,
Oh,
smash, glass breaking.
Damn it all. She goes wandering back to Tarkin. Tarkin, what's all that noise going on around here? And
Back in Mission Viejo, the cop manages to track down the 11-year-old via the furry footprints he left, follows the furry footprints back to the 11-year-old's house and all, takes the lock to his front door, sneaks it behind him, pulls out a real gun instead of a taser this time, cocks it, puts it to his head, holds him at gunpoint, and says, "Let me play your game." And
meanwhile, back on the ship,
Meanwhile, back at HQ.
Having a tough time, are you, Sergey?
Yeah. Okay. Me back. I can't do this. I think my brain is out.
Just say and.
Process.
Just say
say
And
A military uniformed Brit walks out of the side of the screen and says, "Oh no, enough of that. This is too silly. It's gone way too silly. Can he continue? It's way too silly. Enough of that." And
back to Mo.
now on
No,
to
it's-
something completely
no,
different.
it's back up.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's back to Anne.
Yes, back. No, you just said that his mob goes
It's
before me.
That's
He's
right.
not-
That'd be nice. That's all.
That's true. It is Mob next.
Then
I think that's his end.
and yeah.
I think we're running short of ideas.
Yeah, let's get back around to me, and then
Yeah.
I got the next piece. So
Meanwhile, and
meanwhile, Anne, she goes right to the chase. All right. It's about this time that the medical officer has gotten over her fascination with Tarkin's tools, which was arguably an unhealthy side effect, but she has realized that there is a biochemical that has infiltrated the atmosphere of the entire Serendipity 2. That the signature of this chemical is highly addictive, hallucinatory, and just generally causes a miasma of thought. As Felicity tries to clear her thoughts and steps out into the hallway, the terrible screams of my character, I guess we'll call him for now, the representative that Bellatrix is playing, goes running by, trying frantically to unfasten the buttons as the chainsaw is trying to rip through her shirt on its way back to the tool shed. Because that's where she hid it. Don't look at me critically, Raven. That's where she hid it. The chainsaw was under her shirt.
So it's now the shirt massacre, not the chainsaw massacre.
Exactly. It's clearly going to be a shirt massacre, or a clothing malfunction. Depends on how you look at it. Either which way, it's not pretty as she goes screaming by with the chainsaw.
Massacre is the right word when all the tools get back.
The chemical can be traced to the area of containment where the puppies had been maintained. It seems like their time within the environment has allowed them to adapt somehow to be able to live in your atmosphere.
Oh, that's awful.
You're
Wait a
setting,
minute,
you're,
it's not
you're,
my turn.
Okay,
Is it-
no, the point here, Gene, is that I'm breaking out of this as if this was all part of the story. So if you hadn't
Oh.
noticed, that's kind of where I've been slowly theming this to anyway. So you just had to let my brain get going, so now you're in trouble. Cause
So now let's play the game, because now it's gone too silly and all this stuff doesn't make sense.
Right.
And so she says,
So you don't have to. I'm just feeding to you that
she
you
hits
also.
a alarm button on our comm and says, "Okay, we've got a problem. The critters are out of their cage and seem to be functioning in a normal atmosphere. Ours. So we need to find them ASAP." And the call rings out through the whole ship.
Okay.
Uh,
The only
well-
person that could have hit the console button and actually cleared the atmosphere doesn't, because she's busy making sure she gets the comm out. Raven's walking down the hallway as she sees the individual known as my character going past with a chainsaw dragging her down the hallway. It's to you, Raven. Would you have anything to say about the person going by, pulling the chainsaw out of her shirt?
Hopefully your shirt or the chainsaw isn't named Christine. Also, what the fuck?
Tarkin,
yes,
Tarkin,
and
Yes, and yeah.
Tarkin is going to run over to the medical wing and reconstitute the air filtration systems to stop the hallucinogenics that have made everyone believe that they took tools, and made everyone believe that the puppies were out, and made everyone believe that nonsense is happening when really we're all still asleep. Because nothing so crazy could have happened.
What? Wow, that's a good catch. Actually, that's good. That's a good plot twist.
and then we all woke up.
Right. So as you wake up, the only significant change to the vessel's configuration is that there are now 18 bits floating around inside of the space where there were once just the two.
Sweet. More puppies! Sorry, Sergi says.
Inside their little containment thing?
Yeah, the one that was built for 12, you're now overpopulated by 6.
Looks like we'll have to vent 6.
Whoa. I'll have to do that.
Or 12.
Just keep
Raven,
them.
do you want to vent 6 or 12?
I vote 6.
Well, why not we
I vote
freeze them?
none.
Why don't we put them in cryostasis? Because that's the way the one guy wanted them anyway.
Well, we already sold the ones over there. These ones are ours.
He wanted more.
Well, then we'll sell them again. You don't have to just in a freezer.
So if we want to prevent this, we could put them all in cryostasis.
Yes.
Let's just.
This is really funny. I get to say this and actually mean it. Yes, and we were in farm. We were on a little backwater planet last time. Yes, that's true. But you're back on board the vessel, so that's where. So
I'm just gonna assume I was let on.
yeah. Okay.
All right.
Oh, we really hope you weren't let on that backwaters planet.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Don't-
There were monsters on that planet.
Don't want to become a true believer there. That's for sure.
Sure.
Well, that's why we helped her get off.
Remember
Yeah,
with the
we-
two old
we
folks and
rescued her.
there were the things under the ground.
Yep.
And the porta potty that eats people and.
Yeah.
No thanks. Oh, and the stew that was. Ugh.
Made of humans. I mean,
Yeah,
by
cannibalism.
humans. Sorry, by humans.
Cannibalism. Cannibalism.
And their children, whatever they were, that crawled across the ground and
Mm-hmm.
only came out at night.
But the gases that were causing the problems did come from the actual apparent escape of the two.
Okay.
But they're back in their containment field with 16 little puppies, little bitty starlets
Yay.
of material.
I'm going to
I
go
gave
hit
you one.
the vent button and send 6
No,
of
no,
them-
no, 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 no venting.
You're on this crew, kiddo.
Huh?
We have a commander, and we have an officers, and your crew right now.
Mhm.
Well, wait a minute. I just realized she doesn't have. Okay.
If
never
you
mind.
touch my tools or any of my buttons, I'll cut your hand off.
Buttons. You don't own the buttons.
They're my buttons.
They're not your buttons. Your tools are
Hey.
yours.
I
Buttons are
created
not
a
yours.
containment field.
I
But
think I'm the only
it's
one
in
allowed
my
to press
I
territory.
didn't say name field. I said I was gonna.
Yes.
I was gonna.
Whoa, whoa!
I said I was
Doing
gonna
it
send
again,
6
folks.
puppies into outer
Stop!
space.
Stop! One at a time. We do have a crew. There's an established ship hierarchy. So the two new people will take one of the roles or two of the roles of the ship. So
Oh,
Well, Anne's a
Yeah.
reporter, right, Anne?
I believe I was a social worker. I called my
Yeah.
like social worker / reporter / adventurer.
Mm-hmm.
They all kind of go
investigator,
hand in
remember?
hand.
You're also a private investigator.
Was that in
I'm
Corwin? Or is
that
this
was
in this
another
game?
one.
I feel like it was.
No, Anne was actually tied up in the chair in the other building.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yes,
she was a private
She-
investigator,
please stop.
a journalist, and a adventurer, I believe. If I remember
Yes.
correctly.
Right. She had come out here to follow a story about this place.
Yes. I was a
And you-
reporter. Correct.
Right. You were,
Reporter.
you're a freelancer, which
Oh.
means you do other things, but you would come here specifically to try to get the real truth behind this couple that had bought the planet or the planetoid. And they caught you, so to speak, and were planning horrible things for you, and the party rescued you.
Yay!
And I made sure that I did not leave without my pearl earrings.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, we're glad to have you on board.
Hey, Rick, I sent you something.
If you have anything wrong, I'm the medical officer. Check in with me.
You may want to give her a checkout based
Oh.
on what we saw in that last world. They might have done something to her.
Well, with her permission, I certainly will.
I have nothing to hide.
I think anyone on board who's joining the crew should have a medical checkout, especially when they come from an affect that world like that.
All right,
Okay.
where do I get undressed?
Come, you
Uh,
don't have to do it in front of everybody. Come on over to the medical lab. And,
You have an entire section for the medical lab now, so you actually
Yeah.
have a door between you and technology, whereas before you had the containment field.
Open.
between you.
And I'll let her guide me.
okay.
Wait, what?
Also, we're more civilized than that. We can use a scanner like Star Trek. It's okay. You don't have to take off all your clothes anymore. That's
Nope.
Yeah.
unless you want to.
No. That was her being cheeky. She's a very cheeky individual, as you'll come to know.
Wasn't that a song? She's a very cheeky girl. One that you don't take home to mother. Oh no, that's a different kind of girl.
Yep.
Here's the
All right, so the crew's finally trying to get back to normal. We lost our extra crew member, but I don't remember what her character's name was. So somebody have a name for her. Was it Christine? I don't even remember. She's not here at this moment, so we'll wait till she comes back. But or was she an illusion as well? That's
He was trying to act as trying to take over as captain.
oh, that's right. That's right.
From the other. She was
Well, while we were
None.
getting Mob to actually
Corporal.
pay his
Corporal.
debt to society, she stood in as your replacement, Captain.
Her name was it started with an S, and I always get the word serendipity and this word confused.
Oh, she called herself Serenity, like the
Serenity. That's it.
Yeah, that's right. She was Serenity. So when she comes back, we'll be able to tell her what her character's name was. Yay!
Excellent. Excellent.
Anyway,
It's more serene this
she's
way.
collapsed and she's been moved to med bay as unconscious for whatever reason. Perhaps the chemical that was in the air overtook her or something.
Parkin is trying to figure out what the hell happened with the containment field, or how they were able to breed. Because they usually stay in their own corners on opposite fields, so he's trying to look back at the video log to see what the hell happened.
Right, right. And when you do so, as you're watching the video, everything seems exactly the same for like hours and hours of videos. The two of them just sit in opposite corners. And then all of a sudden, in a blinding flash of light, the two of them basically leap towards the containment gate where you'd actually extract them from, and pass through it as if it didn't exist. They just kind of oozed their way through it.
The metal door?
Yeah.
You mean like an amoeba do?
And then they didn't freeze on the outside?
Right.
Hey, Raven?
Yes, Tarkin.
Somehow these thingy-majiggers oozed through an entire airlock door and got out and can move around in our atmosphere. I think they're getting to be a wee bit too dangerous to hold. And they're multiplying at a rate that's untenable.
Oh, well, that explains my confusion.
Well, I still think we should keep at least one for reasons. But is it possible that they like maybe found a crack and squeezed through it?
You
Oh,
hear in the
It's
You
an
hear-
airlock door.
you hear in the background or three.
Or three? Yeah. Yeah,
No.
see, one or three because you need an odd number. So yeah, that works.
1 minus 3, that's -2.
No, 1 or 3.
I prefer 4, but because
Hey, this
I'm a
is too
positive person,
dangerous.
so I
They're
prefer
multiplying-
positive numbers.
That's an over 900%, wait, 800% increase.
They can be fixed.
No, they can't. They're made of liquid metal.
Well, how did
Well,
they get outside?
maybe
Did you see how they got
energy.
outside?
Yes.
As I'm still following to the medical lab.
Yep.
So they just like
They
Object
liquid. They
permeated outside.
terminate. Look, you've seen the old movies. They terminated through the airlock door.
Well, it doesn't mean they're.
Terminator
Oh.
3000, like
Yeah.
liquid metal.
Yeah. Terminator 3000, right through the door. Not at a gap or a seam. Right.
Oh,
through
no,
the
are
door.
these reapers?
object permeation. Okay, got it. I'll just add that to the research notes. It's not a big deal. You're
They're
acting
not harmful. They just want to make friends.
Okay, I have to say this, Felicity, you need to actually study them a little bit more and make sure you're not going to take over the ship or get into some kind of vital system. Or else,
No, they already said that they have an affinity for clogging up and destroying hyperdrives because they follow the power and get stuck in it. So we can't have them getting out.
Yeah.
Now, I had designed this room with all that in mind for them to not be able to get out whatsoever. But if they're getting out, that means we gotta get rid of them.
Okay, I will
About
put them
this,
in
about this
cryo.
time, about this time, the klaxons on the on the ship's comm console actually do go off. Beep, beep, beep. Broadcast warning. Beep, beep, beep. Broadcast
Okay.
warning.
Here,
It seems
I
that
have.
just 2 sectors away, a starship leaving
Uh,
leaving
I think they're on.
Technicus 7, I think is where we agreed to meet, has spontaneously exploded, killing everyone on board. No one is sure what caused it, but it seemed there was some sort of runaway danger in the energy atomics, and all hands are lost. The sector is being investigated by the inward forces, so the Alliance is actually sending a heavy research cruiser to find out what happened.
Oh, we gotta get rid of these. I'm sorry, Raven. I'm sorry, we can't keep them. We have to get rid of them.
But we
They're-
can keep them. We can keep them. We
No.
can keep at least one, maybe 3.
No.
Can I
They-
talk to them at least? Can I
Or
try to talk to
3.
them?
Hey, cryostasis. All but one. Apparently it takes
They are
2 to multiply.
in our atmosphere. They're not going into cryo.
Maybe if I talk to them. Have we tried talking to them? No, we just locked them up. We didn't interact with them or anything.
Be my
Actually,
guest.
actually, mathematically speaking, there's always one.
Well, only way we could do this now is to go talk to them. So I think Raven should take the upfront of this, since this is her idea.
Yep.
Murphy's bios are all fine. She's clear of any
Aliens.
insertions,
Paint.
applications. Yes, she's
Microchips.
yes.
So her
No
birth
subdurals.
her birth certificate will state that she
Right.
was born as Mary Antoinette
Nice,
Murphy.
nice.
Marie or Mary?
Mary Antoinette Murphy.
Mary.
Yeah, not Marie Antoinette. Mary Antoinette
Right.
Mary Antoinette
Right.
Murphy.
Murphy. Yes. Seems
Very
that
good to
she.
meet you.
Likewise, likewise.
I'm Felicity Vanderzee. I'm an inner world born, but I'm the doctor here. And
So
I'm
Murphy as captain, what are we doing? I'm
Robson?
sorry, Robson as captain, what are we doing?
I'm gathering everyone together to go to the area where these damn things are and let Raven and the rest of them talk to them while keeping an eye on them.
thanks.
Tarkin's watching from the outside with his hand on the vent button.
Yeah.
And I'm with Tarkin.
Okay.
Do you have anything other than these farm clothes? My foot's killing me for some reason.
Your foot is? Let me take a look at it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
she's got a diamond-shaped puncture in the bottom of her foot. It was so, she pressed down so hard you can actually see odd configuration of numbers on the 3 sides.
What did you step on?
I don't know. It was like it must have been some point when I was knocked out.
Okay, sorry about that. Let me treat that, and I'll.
Thank you for that, Allie. That's precious.
I'll
I tried. I try.
She treats the wound, and luckily it didn't pierce or go into anything. But I don't like how deep the impression is, so she actually puts some false fake skin over the area that
Moleskin.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that
No
nothing
pig
will.
skin. She takes a football, tells her to wear a football over her foot.
She should put some resin in it, so then she can make her own dice.
No, because
More than
Oh
likely,
my god.
hydrated. That's why it was all sunken in.
so anyway, this will prevent anything from getting in there while the area has been stressed, and it will return to its normal shape. Should be in a day or two. I'll check it.
All
But
right.
This will take care of it, and that way you won't
Okay, so the two
damage it any
the two
further.
large ones are still on opposite sides of the container, but they're in the center of their spaces, seeming to hold on to the sheer glass of it molecularly.
Yeah, these
The
these clothes
others,
are
the other
itchy.
16 are filling all of the corners and then hopping like look like basically like jumping beans as they still continue to dance, but four of them just flit through the void at any given point as they do this weird numerical dance.
Well, we'll keep all the recorders going on them. We might get something out of it. Come on.
Okay.
And is this like accessible information, or is this like newbies don't get a look at the
Oh no, they're
interface?
on board.
Yeah, no, they're not treating you like that at all. So
Oh, okay. So as I'm watching, all I'm thinking is, oh, who's a good boy?
They're not pretty like that. They're called puppies. They do not look like puppies.
Uh,
You should tell
they're
them what they look
small,
like.
small silver insectoid-looking things with many hands and appendages that morph in and out of their surfaces. But they almost always have 8 legs
In a
and
trunk, right?
and a little trunk and like a
Oh no,
proboscis.
I am aware that these aren't actual puppies. Just I
Yeah,
have an
but
acquired taste.
yeah, calling them cute is a bit of a stretch because they are so alien.
Well, a lot of things are alien.
Yeah,
It's fine.
we found them on a. Well, we found
Isn't
them
that a little
somewhere.
xenophobic? I mean, we're also a little alien.
Yeah,
Well, listen, they eat radiation, and
Okay,
they could.
okay, that's interesting.
And Raven's holding up what they look like, if you just want to know.
See that?
See it?
I can.
It's kind of hard to see, but she's a really
Oh,
great
I see.
picture. Okay,
Mhm.
okay, got it. Thanks, Raven.
Nope, sheep's still like, who's a good boy?
I brought some batteries.
The problem is they were in a containment field and they got out. And from the video log, it looked like they just actually merged into the door and then merged out on the other side. Kind of clever, but now it causes a problem.
Hmm.
I hadn't Raven batteries. I was like, here, treats.
You hear a cooing sound, harmonically, musically. They are singing.
Oh, what I have.
They have 2 octaves.
It sounds oddly like.
What is that? Record that. Someone record that.
Oh, it's all being recorded. And then more spawn when the song ends.
Yes.
Yay! We got more toothpaste.
18 times, say 16 times 16.
32.
No, 16 times
In
16.
times 16.
Oh, all the little ones are too young to breed.
I'm just kidding anyway. So
That would be 160 plus
there's,
6 times.
there's 34 now. 32 plus 4. 32 plus 2.
So Tarkin hits the vent button so that the floor falls out underneath him. Then a large rubber plunger starts to push down the room, forcing them all out.
Oh no!
It's a puppy.
Poor babies.
Sorry, it's emergency. Gotta do it.
As he's plunging them all out, you see the little these greasy silvery streaks as they're being pushed down by the plunger. The little hands keep reaching up, trying to grip as they're
You're
pushed
seriously
down.
doing this in front of Raven? Because
Yeah.
Wait, does
she will hurt you.
Well,
Sorry.
here's a question. Does he even have the power to do it? Question.
Well,
Yes, I created the containment field.
it's just pushing him into an airlock. So
Oh, okay.
Okay. I was gonna say if you're gonna like crush them or whatever, Raven.
it
will
wouldn't
rip
crush
it-
them.
Oh,
He's
we're
just
not
pushing
crushing them.
He's just spacing.
Okay.
He's trying to space
Well, the
them.
way you were describing it, it sounded like they were getting crushed.
No,
Yes.
they're trying
Okay.
to be spaced out into the vacuum.
Although they're aliens, that's still animal cruelty.
I'm not trying to crush them. You guys are putting that in your own
Right.
selves.
We already know they can live in outer space. They were living in outer space without you before this, so that's not a real problem. So he's trying to push them outside. As the compressor little light goes on, indicated it's completed its full cycle, and the plunger starts to pull back. Two of them are on the face of the plunger, the two primaries. You space the little 18 speckles go floating out in the 32 speckles go floating out into space. With the two
Oh,
primaries.
these ones are sticky. But at least
You're
we're back
hurting.
down to 2.
Oh my God! You realize if they could latch onto a ship coming through here,
There's lots of dangers for them to latch onto a ship. They can't get into the engines from the outside.
Wow.
the engine expels things to make it go, and what goes out can also have something come in.
Not with the force of it pushing the spaceship to sublight speeds and beyond. I'm sorry, but no. Nothing's gonna crawl in a jet engine that's shooting them at near light speed.
Unless they have a cloak.
What kind of cloak are you talking about?
A really nice one with a frill on the edge and a nice hasp that comes up around the neck.
Especially if they're trying to fly around next to it, the cape just gets sucked in.
Oh, it's terrible, terrible.
I did a report on that once.
So what are we gonna do with these last two? Because they're stuck to the plunger.
Can we keep them?
Well, we have to find a way to.
Are they
Let's try talking to them.
are they freezing because of the coldness of the void?
Well, right now they just look like shiny gem-like objects mounted to the bottom of the plunger.
Come here, boy. Come here. Come on, get off the plunger.
Well, they're gonna have to close the airlock before they get
Yeah,
warm.
the bottom's closed and the plunger is back now. It always was the roof of the room.
Right. So they just push back, and then they once the a little bit of time has passed. Oh, and when you're going, come here, Sergi, and all that, the two of them do move back to the opposite sides, but one of them is the wall closest to you, and the other is the far wall opposite you.
Okay. Raven, it's your turn.
Also, non-domesticated creatures can't respond to, hey, come here. You need to give them something to connect that to want to do that.
Very true. Can I take? Oh, well, I did give Raven the battery, so you do it. This is your pets. Enjoy. You give them treats.
Go after uranium.
Do you realize giving them treats is feeding them radiation? You want to give them a radiation treat? You do it.
It's just a battery. It'll be fine. It's fine.
The battery is not radiation.
Some energy.
It technically is, but there's a lot of things.
Not
that we
on
don't
the
think
type
of.
that they're eating.
I don't know. Give
Our
it to them
radio
and find out.
signals are technically radiation.
Got a microwave?
Light is radiation.
Yep.
Heat is radiation.
Maybe we need to keep them in the dark so they don't breathe.
What?
Well, we had
How will we
light
talk
on.
to them? How will we just?
Technically, the interactions between atoms is radiation.
What are you doing, Raven?
I was just gonna let everybody else keep talking and send you a message, but Raven's gonna focus on the one that's closest
Okay.
and try to make eyes contact since it has like 4,
Yeah.
and try to use telepathy, I guess.
Right. So you're standing there like with your hands against the side of your forehead, and all of a sudden
Yeah, trying to block out everybody else talking.
And all of a sudden you hear.
She'll try
It's only,
to ask.
you look around to make sure nobody else heard it.
Okay, she was gonna try to ask it what its name was. Okay, and then ask if it needs ask how it's feeling. And then she'll figure out how to translate it.
Anybody else hearing this? No.
No, because
How are you going to translate? It's the same
Oh.
sound basically every time.
well, no, the last time sounded angry. Well, now you're
Or confused.
I
What'd
was
you
gonna go with scared, but okay.
And what did you say, Sergi?
Confused, he said.
Confused? Oh.
Confused?
On the third, more insistent sound, Sergi also hears it.
I woke up. I was like, "Can you say that again?" I'm gonna take one of the batteries I gave Raven and I hand it to the creature to see if it wants a treat.
You hold a battery out in front of you towards the
Yeah.
panel?
No, towards the creature. I give it.
No, it's inside the containment
Oh,
field.
it's inside the containing, which. That's. Oh. Do you want to come out? Do you want to come in here?
It kind of sounds like that. I heard it someplace else.
Okay. It is a pet. That sound. If it makes that sound, that it's pet worthy, and we cannot send it into space.
We just vented 16 of them, 32 of them.
Well, we can get them back. We really try that.
No, we can't.
Okay. Mob and Tarkin look at each other and just go, nope, that ain't happening. Murphy, after your "Who's a Good Boy" thing, on the fourth one, you actually can hear it too.
Oh boy.
Happy birthday. Sorry. I just try to copy the sound then.
What are you doing?
Who are you talking to?
Sergey, what?
What? Did not do anything?
No.
All right.
Except that Felicity's looking at you like you're from the moon, because you're standing looking at the box, going,
And I'm observing him, and I'm trying to get a sense of the difference between what I heard, what he's doing, because he's just mimicking, but he doesn't understand the intent by it.
Well, so let him know that.
Yeah, you don't understand the intent by it, but you're getting the sound correct.
That's very true.
Okay, those of you that haven't heard it yet are probably wondering what the heck they're talking about, because they're saying they're hearing something.
So what are you hearing?
I just said,
I point at Sergey, and I say him, like what he said. But there's something off about it. I can't really put my finger on it, and I really don't know how.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Raven, did you get what did you do to initiate the sound?
They're telepathic, so I just thought at it. I asked it what its name was, and I asked it what it was feeling and all of that stuff, because it's a puppy. So you got to talk to it.
Okay. Well, you might be able to establish some communication with it, apparently, but
I think we need to hug it and see what happens.
They might see that as a threat because they don't understand our social cues. They might think because we're bigger, we're trying to go after it.
What's a social cue?
It's this magical thing that happens with people usually. Sometimes people are not very good at it. Uh,
Cough, Tarkin, cough.
you know what? I'll teach you one time.
Here's some pudding.
You must have a lot of
Just have a
patience.
little bit left there.
I'm a freelancer, so I have to have lots of patience.
See how that goes.
Tarkin is still seriously considering trying to vent these things again.
Yep.
Great.
That or how he can better contain them. He needs to know. He's going to run some simulations on.
Can you stick? Oh, sorry, sir. Continue. Sorry.
He's going to use the room scanners to try to analyze the residue that they left on the wall to see how they were able to pass through the door.
Alrighty. There was a chemical compositional change that apparently was not perfect in its replication. So on the place on the door where they came through, you can actually see the metal is actually raised, almost like they pulled some of the molecules with them when they came out of contact with it. So they are chemically reacting as well as at the atomic level interacting.
Well, if it's metal interacting with metal and they're pulling electrons across, and that's how electricity is generated.
Yep.
No, that's
If-
also how emotions are generated.
What?
Chemically speaking, we have neurotransmitters that send data through.
Yeah, but those are hormones chemically going around with interactions of our cells. I'm talking down on a molecular level. The motion of electrons passing through metals is what causes an electrical charge.
Got it.
Right, but it's the excitation of electrical connections in our brains. So Anne is correct in at least some fashion.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying that's at a cellular level I'm talking about. Molecular
I was
level.
just trying to see if there was any comparable similarities between
are.
us and
There
the
are.
puppies.
There are. It seems that they were reacting to some kind of emotional stimulus.
Well, let's see. We try to do what to them?
It wasn't anything. You didn't do. Yeah, they're sitting in a container. You just have been observing them. You haven't done anything to them.
Okay, so maybe are they claustrophobic?
They don't seem to be. Seem to be able to just function. They still do their. From time to time, they'll do their dance, but they only do part of it because there's only two of them.
Hmm. Do they need does it seem that they need a function in larger quantities?
Not necessarily, and they don't. The way they acted in captivity was not the way you saw them acting in nature. You would observe them living in the shadows of crater walls and populating and getting larger in the shadows because apparently the light hurt them or something. But these have adapted so the light does not affect them in any kind of way at all. But more importantly, when you look back at when you were looking back at those tapes of them, you notice that they became agitated specifically at the point when you guys were worried about the bioform inside of the other building. The concern you were showing to them, showing about Anne, is what triggered these things to respond and begin to act.
So do our emotions inflict on them?
That would be just at the very base level. That's the first stimulus that Tarkin can attribute to their odd action thereafter.
Well, I don't see any correlation between our emotions and their actions. They have not responded at all in thought of anything that's happened. We've had lots of emotions go on.
Maybe
I do have an idea though.
Stronger emotion.
Yeah, maybe it's a specific emotion that doesn't register to them. Or maybe they just don't understand. Kind of like how bees can't see a specific color. Maybe they can't see.
Tarkin says he has the theory.
In meta, real quick, I don't know anywhere there's correlation for the emotion. I haven't seen any sort of anything that I'm not really sure where that came from. If I miss something, then let me know. but I don't understand this correlation with emotion.
Okay,
Um,
I made the statement of correlation to emotion, and only by saying that when you were looking at the record, you went back in time to try to see when they started their weird action and when they escaped, and you backed up to before you guys landed, and so you were watching them from a controlled state when you had them and were aware of what they were doing, and you were fast forwarding through that, and at the chronologically same moment that you guys were approaching the space where Anne was tied up in the building was when they made their move. They began to make their escape move. So they had, if in effect, already escaped from containment before you guys got back to the ship.
Either way, I have an idea. He's
Oh.
going to put a very powerful, controllable ultraviolet pipe lights along each side of the internals of the walls and inside the airlock that are on all the time. So if they
Okay,
try to pass through any of the walls, they will be roasted alive by the UVs.
got you.
Because you said that they don't like light radiation,
Right.
even though it's radiation. They
There,
apparently don't
I
like
could
that
actually
form of
run
radiation.
some tests on them if you'll let me, not to harm them, but to see if I can get certain responses
Yeah.
fixed.
Their reaction to radiation is kind of like humans and nightshades. We eat potatoes and tomatoes, but anything else from the nightshade family would kill us.
Okay. So there's certain lights they can be in, but certain lights they can't.
And the reason why I was going on about emotion is that one thing that's apparent in the animal kingdom is fight or flight mode. Second, they go into fight mode is when all shit breaks loose. Um, either they either get traumatized and like get backed up in a corner from flight mode, or they go in, they fight back. That's why I was trying to see if there's any correlation to see if they are domesticatable.
Well, that's not always a correlation with all species or types of life, and this is a hugely alien species to begin
Right.
with.
Right.
And they have a defense mechanism that never lets them get to that point because when they enter an atmosphere that they aren't simpatico with, they freeze and go dormant like a tardigrade.
Right.
Mm.
So they crystallize when they are not in their mojo zone.
But I can run tests, and I suggest it's one thing we do is to gather more information.
Well, you
And
got all the sensors in the room. What
Yeah.
kind of test do you
Well,
want to
no,
run?
no, no, no.
What specifically do you want done, Felicity? That's what he's asking.
Okay. In specific,
All right, guys, I'll be
I
right back.
can hook them up to receptors on their skin or surface, and with Raven trying to communicate with them, get a more finite um, idea of what they're doing in response to what she's doing. So
What
if I can begin to pin it down by their responses.
what kind of receptors are you going to use? Because they're all metals. They don't have a skin. If you're trying to measure electrical impulses like you would on a human, that's not gonna work.
I will keep on working on it till I find something that does work.
I'm
I'll try to use what I know now, and then if I cannot get anything that way, I will go to the next level. You can play with
I'm
your
trying to
tools.
talk. Look, I'm your science officer, and these are an alien species. You need to think of a different way to do it besides how you would do it on a humanoid. I'm just trying to talk out how we can do that.
Well,
She's just trying to use. Just trying to suggest some sort of biometrics because the sensors are all passive, and she's trying to find an active way to trigger stimulus. Is what she's trying to do.
if I can get a particular stimulus to get a particular action,
Aye, that's anything though. What you're saying is if I do anything to them and I can get any sort of reaction, then it'll tell me something. I'm trying to figure out what the modus operandi
well,
of how
why
you
don't you let
intend
me
to
do
do
it?
that.
Because medical is my area of expertise.
Whatever.
If we're going to be looking for other aliens somewhere, we're going to have to learn to deal with
Which is
something
exactly what I'm talking about, but it's fine.
You know, you can't find out if you don't try to find
That's
out.
what I'm talking about, but you're not listening to anything I have to say, so there's no reason to.
Well, okay, what
Actually,
concept?
that appears to be in both directions. She's trying to say use biology. You say you've got research. You got all the data input from you from a
That's
technological
not what
side.
I'm saying at all. I'm saying that I just want to figure out how she wants to get the input.
So help her with that, so that you're working on the same
That's what
side.
I'm trying to do, and every time I try to say it, she shuts me down.
Sounds like you're trying to shut me off, not down, not help. Okay, if you want to work with me, fine.
That's the whole point of what I was trying to say. Look, see, Mob was listening to me. I was just saying that you can't put on pads on them like you're testing electrical impulses on a human. How are we going to get the things? That's exactly what I said.
Well, I couldn't tell I use pads or clips or something because it's conductive.
They're not conductive. They don't have electrical impulses inside them like a human does. So we have to figure
How
out
do
a
you
different.
know?
You're
We
muted.
You're
haven't.
on. You're on mute.
You muted yourself, Mob.
Because if I remember correctly, John is the one that said that they don't, that they're the solid, liquid.
Metal.
Yeah,
And they only take that odd shape when it comes to being motive to move around. They grow their little appendages and move around that way.
Okay. But
that's what.
something has to initiate
Okay, so
that.
if the question is whether or not you can have a specimen to deal with, you'll have to work on it inside of the containment room with like robot arms or something like that. If you wish to manipulate some of the biomaterial, the material of them to see what it is, like for example, try to put it under a microscope or whatever, you can do those things. But you just need to find ways to that you and Tarkin are speaking the same language instead of being combative. Both of you are wonderfully strong characters, but you don't need to be at each other's.
I wasn't at anyone's throat.
I felt that both of you were being combative. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that you intended to be, but it felt like one was being defensive and the other was being aggressive, or vice versa. You're not on the same page, and I don't know how to get you there. You're going to have to figure.
Just for my 2 cents, Travis has been trying to include Gene's ideas, so I'm just saying that's what I've been seeing.
Right, right. Yes. So, Gene, you're looking for a biological subspecimen to work on to see if you can see anything. Is that what you're asking? In effect.
Yeah, yes. In other
And
words,
that's what
mon-
it's just a matter
try
of
to.
learning how to say it so that it can be heard. I apologize.
I want if I need to work on ways to find out how I can get readings from this particular life form because obviously it is some form of life. It reproduced. It's one of the major factors of life is it reproduces itself. And once it did it, it became more than a thing, a thing. It was a living thing that reproduces. Therefore, processes are being carried on. I want to identify those processes.
Well, so do viruses.
Not disagreeing. Viruses are life forms.
They're actually not life forms. They don't have any other
They're one of
vestige of
those
life
things that
besides
stand
the
on an
reproduction.
edge, like Euglena, who is both a plant and an animal, but now they call them a whole new group, Proteus. But back in their day, it was a plant and
Uh,
an animal.
Anyways, my only point is they're metal, and so you have to figure out a way besides uh, an '80s form of tech, which is
Wait a moment.
putting
Would you
stuff
credit
on
me
them.
with?
And let me finish what I'm saying before you even know what I'm saying. How are you planning to test
Wait a
anything?
moment.
I get that you want to
Credit
test.
me with that body of knowledge that is at my level at this time for my character.
No one's questioning your body of knowledge.
Okay, and my abilities in medicine. So don't talk about the 1980s, talk about 2011 or 2300 and something or 400. I don't know where we are. Okay, but I have that degree of knowledge. Now, I agree, we haven't run into alien life forms supposedly yet. So this is the first one that we have found. Okay, and so it's going to be a learning curve.
Fine, do whatever. That's
Okay,
fine.
stop.
I'm trying to
Stop,
play the
stop,
game and figure
stop.
out how to do it, but whatever.
If this continues, I'm leaving.
Me too.
I don't understand where the conflict comes from. Gene, you asked to do specifically biological things.
Yeah.
That the biology things require just some assistance from the technical side. He's trying to ask you for a in-story reason to do those things.
No, not to do them, but how are we going to do them? I'm trying to play the fucking game and figure out how we can get it done. I'm trying to play the game and talk about how to do it. How are we going to test a metal object? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Fine, if she wants to just do it, that's fine. I don't care.
Right now, I can't tell you exactly how I'm going to do it.
That's why I'm
Quite
trying to talk about
honestly,
it.
just a moment. Quite honestly, it's a matter of experiment.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
That's my whole goddamn point.
this can't continue. We got to figure out how to fix this. I'm going to end the stream. We'll talk about this after the game is over. But I've got to end this because I can't continue with this either. So I'll be right back. Thanks, guys, and thanks for watching.